Hello everyone, how are you? It's Riss. I'm back, biatch. I literally don't know where time went, but I ended up, I guess, taking a little bit over a month off of YouTube, and I missed it because this was one of my resolutions, was to keep going with YouTube. So here I am, and I thought I would make my little return by talking about some fantasy reads that I think would be really good for a beginner fantasy reader. Fantasy is one of my top genres. I absolutely love it. And I feel like I have some pretty good sense of what someone would enjoy if they were a new reader. So let's get into it. My first recommendation should come as no surprise. I definitely recommend going into the Sarah J. Maas verse, specifically starting with ACOTAR or Throne of Glass. ACOTAR is what I read first, and then I read Crescent City first, which I would not recommend for a beginner, and then I read ACOTAR and then Throne of Glass. I'm sure you've seen these books everywhere. They are so bingeable and so worth the hype, and they really can kickstart just a love for the genre. So definitely these two I would recommend for a good starting point. My next recommendation is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This series I saw was like, if you like ACOTAR, you'll like this. And I read the whole series in like a week. These books are pretty thick, so that's the only thing. If you're intimidated by thick books, this one's probably not for you. But this has a really easy to follow world building magic system type of thing. It has a really sweet love interest. It is a romantasy, so romance is a big, but this series is really good. It's really fast paced, and I think would be a good starting point if you don't really want to hop on the ACOTAR bandwagon. Baby cat. Ooh, 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 ooh. That's a cat. My next two recommendations are the Cruel Prince series, another book talk favorite, and Divine Rivals, which is also happens to be a book talk favorite. They are both so freaking good. They're both YA, and the reason why I kind of group them together is because the writing is just unbelievably beautiful in both of them. Divine Rivals is rivals to lovers, the Cruel Prince is enemies to lovers, but the enemies to lovers in Cruel Prince is like super enemies to lovers, very like classic fantasy almost, but it's put in a digestible YA storyline. So good. I really loved that series, and especially with the Cruel Prince, Jude, the FMC, she really stands out, and I think that her story is really good. Divine Rivals, the second one, came out recently, and I have not read it yet, but I really want to. I just have not been in a fantasy mood recently. If you don't really want to go down the romantasy route, which I feel like romantasy is probably the easiest way to get into fantasy because it's so, like, it just adds that extra, like, plot pacing, I would recommend going in with Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I don't see many people talk about this book. I picked it up like on a whim. It was in my boyfriend chooses my Barnes haul video, and I loved this. It was very like fairy tale, like magic. I don't know, it felt like I was reading something that like would be an inspiration for a fairy tale I would love as like a kid. However, this is adult, there's no doubt about that. And finally, I would definitely recommend the Poppy War series. This one is if you kind of just want to dive into just like fantasy, like you don't really want anything that is like romancy, like you don't want YA. This is so good. I read it when I first started reading fantasy, and I guess I went in not knowing what to expect, but I came out of reading it with having a whole new top favorite book series now. I love the Poppy War so much. All of R.F. Kuang's books are just magnificent. So if you kind of want to skip the real beginner ones, I would definitely go in with the Poppy War series. Anyway, comment down below if you're a fantasy lover, what book got you into it, and if you have any other beginner series recommendations that you think that I should do. I love y'all, and I'm glad to be back. Sorry if I sound weird. I was literally talking for like 5 days straight, and I think my little throat's getting tired. I love you. Bye.